Hello, everybody, and welcome to San Antonio by Nights. We are joined by Urien and Benji for this particular episode today, episode 15. And we are starting a new night. After a few events that occurred at the bar at which Benji primarily calls his stomping grounds, we got to know a little bit more about our new friend, as it were. And so, with Urien and Benji and Tom having uh, gotten together, looked into a couple of things for Benji and everything else, we met a very important person to Benji, his mentor. Benji, why don't you give us a little bit of insight as to how that whole ordeal went and what you plan on doing tonight?
Well, to be perfectly honest, uh, I'm fucking frustrated. I get it. I get it. Protect the masquerade. Don't get into too much trouble. I understand. But here's the thing. I feel like at this point, my leash is keeps getting ranked in too much. Isabella's been good to me, but I'm feeling like she's a bit too protective at this point. So I'm starting to think I need to quit asking for permission and make a point that I can hold my own.
Mm, bold statement for someone so young. What makes
It's
you what what makes you so frustrated that she's kind of reining you in?
keep asking her. Simply said, every time I feel like I'm in a position to make a move, I go in. I'm gonna go make this move. She says, no, you're not. Okay, I hear you. I won't make the move. I won't get into the fight. I won't start anything. I'll just sit here and deal with people trying to show me up all the damn time. Bullshit. Bullshit. I'm over it. So, if Isabella wants me to make a point, prove that I'm in a position that I can handle myself, I'm gonna do it. And I'm gonna do it without her permission.
Hmm. Sounds like that could potentially step on some toes, but we shall see what exactly comes of all of that should you do something without her express permission. And then we have Urien, possibly another leash added to Benji's collar. What's
Hmm.
your take on how things went at the bar?
I would not know. I was not there for a good portion of it. And unfortunately, I had to end up dealing with a particular officer, a individual who was investigating a past action of mine, and I needed to end up dissuading them from continuing on, at least right away, and give our dear hostess a moment of, well, reprieve. Let them know exactly what they were getting involved in. In doing so, I believe I've performed a small service that may end up becoming quite the, mm, well, quite the card to be played in the later evening. Still, to call me a leash, perhaps, maybe in some ways, but you have to remember what I am. Ultimately, the freedom to be one's true self is better than any form of self-deception. Once Benji finds himself, truly finds himself, I believe no leash would be required.
That's certainly something to be achieved, something to shoot for, to be able to fend out on your own and make your own decisions and essentially run your own life. Or unlife, in this case.
Well, it's not like we're Camarilla or anything.
No, of course not. But that being said, the night starts anew. I would like you both to please make rouse checks. Both of you have been able to successfully quell your hunger pains for the moment, keep them silent. But you know that that beast is always there. That rumbling in the back of your mind, in your stomach sometimes. But tonight, it's silent as you wake up. So, are you both starting off together at the coterie house, or are you separate tonight?
I would imagine they have finished my rounds, the usual bit of contacts, trying to listen for information, anything that may be out of the way. Let Benji get more climatized to the area. I'm not comfortable here, but it is a place to be, well, to maintain meetings of some sort. I continue my reading of these particular locations, their historical significance, and perhaps I should make a plan to start going there at some point.
Um, I want to say Benji probably actually started at the bar. He kind of stormed into his room like a kid last episode, so
Okay.
presumably he was sulking.
Is there something that you would like to do there before meeting up with Urien?
Yes, actually.
Alright, so let's take a quick gander over to La Medianoche. The delightful little spot that you call your prowling grounds, maybe?
More or less, but
But
more precisely is what is available to Benji at his quote unquote home.
for all intents and purposes, this place may belong to Isabella.
That's true. But Benji does have a room.
That's true. You do have a place.
And in his room is, conveniently, a bandana, and, just in case, a pocket knife. Just a little switchblade.
Alright.
He pockets those, keeps the bandana stuffed neatly in his back pocket, and he decides to make his way over.
To the coterie house?
Yep.
Okay. I thought you might had something to do here.
No, just needed to make sure to grab those. That's it.
Okay. In which case, anytime that happens, you could just say that you picked something up at your home.
Okay.
So, after about an hour after waking up, Urien, you hear the familiar sound of Benji approaching the coterie house.
Oh, fantastic. Be sure to give him a warm welcome when he ends up entering. I keep the book satchel at my side, and containing some other tools for the evening, just in case.
Always just
Everything
in
else.
case.
I've been in this situation more than once. Still, I open the door once I realize who it is and confirm, using my own gifts as such. And I open the door enough for Benji to slide in and close it immediately. Good evening, Benji.
Evening.
So, what brings you over to my little abode here?
We were talking about, well, last night. Had some conversations back and forth, making rounds, all that.
Mhm.
I remember you were thinking of cleaning house or something like that.
It is a possibility. It's an option I have to weigh in. Of course, one could end up saying that drugs and paraphernalia can lead to a sort of power and influence.
See,
Mm,
that's what I was thinking. Maybe, presumably, there's one thing I know about street gangs is that usually smaller gangs can be splinters, larger organizations, right?
that is true.
So, I do know that if there is some sort of drug connection back and forth going on, if we got a hold of that, got control on that, that'd be two birds with one stone for me.
Oh,
I could get that out of my hood, and additionally, could get that prominence you were saying and have that under your control.
a tempting offer, Benji. A tempting one, certainly. But is that really what you want? Tell me, what is it that you actually want?
If I'm gonna be honest, I want to prove a point to Isabella.
Ah, Isabella. Now, what point would that be?
I can handle my damn self.
Do you believe it is so?
Yeah,
Hmm.
I've been at this for so long, been doing the beck and call. I'm over it.
Well,
I don't want to.
yours. By all means, Benji, continue.
I just. He kind of puts his hands on the back of his head, just squeezes. He's really frustrated, like visibly agitated. I just don't want to fucking be house locked all the goddamn time.
It is difficult for, and pardon the point, but if I recall, you would still constitute as a fledgling, yes?
I mean, I guess, yeah.
You've been less than 10 years into your embrace.
Yeah.
Now, when I make these equivalents, understand it is not meant in a disrespectful tone, but you have only been around for a certain amount of time. You have not seen on how things work in a larger scope. So keep your scope small. Something that is ambitious to be grown. The Tell me, did Isabella ever tell you about what ended up happening back in what we refer to as the Dark Ages?
No. What, like medieval times?
Something like that, yes.
Ooh, Spanish Inquisition.
It got much worse than that.
Oh?
For a while, the world already knew what we were. We did not hide ourselves by pretending to be alive. What we did was is we would rule over whole stripes of land. We would, if you wished to feed, you simply pointed at one of the peasants, and they would come to you, wrists offered, neck open, bare chested if you were a fan. And you simply took of them. And it was through fear and superstition you maintained. Then the church got involved, started looking for monsters, demons, the witches, all sorts of wonders. What started to happen was someone caught wind and thought, this is a useful tool. And what happened was is that as particular individuals would end up pointing and say, here is your demon, they started to think, well, if this person was a demon, what was the person pointing me in the direction? And so, much as the blade and flame would go in one direction, it would come right back. A lesson from history, Benji, is that the reason we do things the way we do, we keep silent, we keep in the background as far as we can, as many points of separation as possible, is because eventually we have to cut ties. And when we do, we need to end up avoiding. We can cut the tie at 1, 2, 3 degrees away from us, and it becomes much harder to come back. The reason I bring this up is when you approach this, I want you to think, how do you maintain a certain degree of separation? I could agree to your plan, and you would in turn be my first point of separation. Is that the bargain you wish to strike?
I don't know. Just
Honesty.
reiterate the question. Reiterate it.
You wish to end up getting involved in these gangs, clean up the streets, as it were. If that makes you happy and that fulfills you, then I have no reason to stop you. If you're offering a benefit to me, fantastic, but ultimately, I do not get myself directly involved in such things, because it's easier to come back to me. So, are you willing to be a degree of separation from the drugs and the blood for me in that regard?
Sure.
Fantastic.
I mean, I was thinking about it. For one, like, cleaning up that business potentially might benefit Isabella's business too.
Perhaps.
Less underground business overall means the few underground businesses get more flooding. I don't know.
You don't. So perhaps that's the first step. Or maybe we can just go out and do it the old-fashioned way. Sometimes the old-fashioned ways are fun, if not risky, and if you're not shy of putting your head in a guillotine.
Well, provided they can even pull me under.
uh, the pride of the Bruja. Very well. How would I am your humble servant, Benji. You direct, and I will do my best accordingly, so long as it remains in my best interest to do so. I don't think you could expect much more than that.
All right. Well, let's start with that tag.
Mm. Well, I suppose we need to look for another individual who might be spray painting it. So,
Cool. Well, as I say, I think maybe the best case scenario here, get some steam blown off. Says that as he kind of very aggressively strides out the door.
Urien has a soft smile on his face, seeing the pent-up aggression in Benji. It's a useful trait, most certainly, when it's directed. He locks up and does his usual routine, looking for, well, whatever there might be to find. He is ashamed if the brake lights suddenly failed. And then begins to start the car. I believe we will take the moment to see if we can find another tag or another person tagging in our domain.
Okay.
Might be useful.
Then, one of you give me a. How long are you planning to do this? How long are you willing to do this?
This is Benji's project. I am willing to take whenever.
Let's put in about probably 2-ish hours going around the domain.
Okay.
Who I don't know if Benji necessarily benefits from the coterie and domain bonuses yet, so
No,
let's
but
see.
I am at your service and I am able to call upon them.
And that's what I was going to ask. Urien, could you lead the role?
Then, Urien, it would be a resolve plus streetwise plus lane.
Plus street. Oh. Okay, streetwise. Plus resolve. Plus lane.
Okay.
Acceptable.
So you do a bit of driving, and it does take you the better part of that couple of hours that Benji was willing to put towards this endeavor. But you do traveling through your domain, kind of asking questions, kind of hitting the usual stops when making your rounds. You do see on the very edge of the domain, on the southern side, is someone who is spraying a tag. It looks like they have, as you're driving up and driving past a little bit, you do see that they haven't done anything to your marks, but on the building directly next to it, they have started to spray their own.
Well, is it an individual or a small group?
Looks about to be 3 or 4 individuals. Looks like one's keeping watch, so the other three are actively next to this. There's 3 at the wall of the building, and most of them are playing lookout while one tags.
From what we can see,
Mm-hmm.
does the tag look similar to the one we saw the other night?
Roll me an intelligence plus streetwise.
Oh, oh.
I will assist. So plus 1.
All
I
right,
do have 1 dot in streetwise. I can assist.
go for it. All right. You look at the mark and you watch as the person continues to spray each individual stroke of it, and you do see, um, oh, that is a bestial crit, isn't it?
Oh, fuck.
Benji,
Mm,
when you see that this is exactly the tag that you spotted before, instantly you put your hand on Urian's shoulder and tell him to stop the car.
okay.
And when you do, that desire that you have starts to really tickle the back of your head.
Hmm.
Look,
Oh.
looks like these punks really deserve some punching.
Um. Yeah. Benji's just got this like little flame glowing in his eyes. Yo, yo. Are those? Those are the guy. They're Urien. Look, they're tagging. They're doing that tag.
Well, if that's the case, he drops the head down and parks, turns off the lights, and
Benji, you
starts to
hardly
examine
wait
the
for the
vehicle.
you hardly wait for
I,
Urian to stop. You exit the vehicle.
Well, he closes the door and just kind of locks it as Benji's going past. This should be entertaining. He starts walking around the car. Benji might be in full tilt. Urien is just walking calm and cool.
um. Benji is in full stride. As he approaches, I think I'm gonna have him bust a little bit of his awe, but in like the spooky way.
Do you have awe or do you have daunt?
I think I have daunt. That's what I meant. Spooky.
All right. So you activate daunt, and Urian, you see that immediately that Benji's aura has shifted.
I should
He
also mention one more thing as he's approaching. He takes the handker or bandana out from his back pocket and wraps it around his face.
mm,
Only his eyes are really showing, so generally speaking, he's obscured.
okay.
Put up and all of that.
Are you trying to be stealthy?
Not necessarily being stealthy, more like obscuring identity.
Ah, okay. Okay. So so you quickly, as the events play out, you quickly get out of the car, hardly waiting for Urian to stop the car. You are walking full tilt this couple of block distance that Urian is parked away, and wrapping the bandana around your face, but activating Daunt, you take on an intimidating aura, and the and as soon as you are like less than 100 feet away from them, they uh all four spot you and immediately look like they are ready to fucking piss themselves.
Benji, in a fairly booming voice, says, "Stop right there!"
All four of them instantly put their hands in the air. The one who was doing the spray instantly drops their spray can. The uh the mark is half done at this point, and all of them cower against the uh the wall of the building. What the fuck, man?
Shut up. Line the fuck up. At the wall.
We're not. Come on.
Hands up! At the fucking wall.
I
Now.
would like you to roll me a charisma plus intimidation plus your presence.
Yeah, yeah. Can do. uh, intimidation plus charisma plus presence.
Yep.
However many dots and presence you have.
Yep.
Do I just add the modifiers?
Add it as a
Yep.
modifier. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Bump. Boop.
Ooh.
Ooh. You swear to Christ, one of them just shat themselves. One of them is cowering so far down against the wall that it. You swear that this is the one who has defecated on themselves. The other three are just like they have their hands up, visible. They see that you have a bandana around your face. They can only assume that that you're perhaps another gang person, and have caught them in the act. What do you plan to do?
Um, how do they look, generally speaking? Are they all just kids? Do they seem like they're like gangbangers?
All four of
What?
them look like they're less than 18 years old.
Oh no.
One might be 18, you're not positive at a quick glance. But all four of them are just cowering and just begging you to just let them leave. They won't come back. All of this pleading with you, trying to get you to back down essentially, because by this point you have drawn your switchblade on them.
Yeah. Um, Benji, now holding his knife up at all of them, is just like looking down at them one by one, kind of holding his blade out to each and every one as he speaks to them.
And each
First
and
of
every
all,
one of them looks goddamn tasty.
first of all, what the fuck is that? What's that? What's that tag? Who are you with?
Look, man, look, we just let us leave. Just let us leave. We won't come back. We won't bother you anymore.
Who the fuck are you working with? What gang?
Look,
What
man,
group?
we're small time. Come on.
Small time what?
You know?
What do you deal?
I, that's like the primary act around here. Just let us go. Come on, man. Just don't hurt us, please. You see
Which
that
of you?
the person who's just cowered on the ground is essentially crying their eyes out now.
Urien is staying at the end of the alley. He's pretty sure it's too dark for them to end up seeing exactly much of his face, but he just kind of leaves himself, arms crossed, leaning against the wall. Just serving as lookout for Benji as he's amused. Crude, but he doesn't want to interrupt Benji's flow too much, or worse yet, having somebody else they interrupt Benji's flow.
Okay. Uh, quickly roll me a wits plus awareness, and then we'll come back to Benji. So, Benji, these mortals, maybe? You're not positive, but you're fairly certain all four of them are just ready to leave as soon as you let them. They're not moving otherwise. They are simply allowing you to say your piece.
Okay. He's just trying to get information out of them.
Okay. They don't really give you a name of a gang. It seems like it's maybe something local, like extremely local, like maybe they're a bunch of neighborhood kids who maybe work for somebody else. And when they how many dots in Streetwise do you have?
3.
Okay. And when you hear the name, it doesn't strike you as big time. Like they were correct in that they are extremely small. Maybe a family or two of dealers in primarily weed,
Ugh,
but
causes
also have like
problems.
a couple of other little side gigs. They You get the impression that this particular group is trying to set up some kind of territory for themselves, but they are being very bad at it.
Um, against every emotion going on in him right now. Hmm. Is it possible to put off that bestial crit for just a little bit?
Mm.
Well, you be so crit in spotting them. You are definitely an intimidating presence. They are like butter in your hands. They will do what you want.
Okay. All right. So
Perhaps you should leave them with a few reminders.
that's yeah. Benji seeing that these are just a bunch of kids, small time hoods, not doing a lot, and just like generally just kids getting in trouble for no good reason. Kind of has them all face him. He's like, look, you stay the fuck out of this hood. You stay right the fuck out.
Yeah, yeah, man. No sweat. We won't come back.
Stay
We'll,
out.
yeah.
Stay out of this gang shit. You don't know what the fuck you're messing with. If you even start, y'all are dead.
Oh shit. Okay,
And then he just like is like, get the fuck out of here, and then ushers them out.
and they fucking run.
And as he sees them leave the alley and sees all of them like vanish, Benji just lowers, relaxes his shoulder, and he just he's frustrated.
Do you drop Daunt?
I do.
And you see that Benji's posture goes back to normal. He has a little less of an intimidating presence. You were a little perturbed for a moment there, but
I have no doubt. He can. He is already proven to end up having a good mastery of his own blood. A shame it's applied so disappointingly. Now,
Benji returns to Urien. Well, can't say I got a lot out of that. If it's just weed, it's just weed. I don't give a fuck about that.
you should.
I guess so. If it's something like meth or something, then I'm actually really concerned. Fuck
As
it.
would I. I'd rather not end up thinking I'm drinking crystal while I'm enjoying the fine beverage in crystal.
Aw man, you're not a party house Urien?
When I party, Benji, no one forgets. Still, I think there is a
Yes.
lesson to be learned here.
You present yourself a bloodbath. Am I right? Benji's like teasing Urien, but in a friendly kind of.
He smiles. He smiles a bit. Like, yeah, you can think that. I. I'll give you a thought, Benji. Where do you think those kids will be in 10 years?
probably still out on the streets. Maybe less likely, though, now. But
Probably more likely. Think of it. They already started. They have a taste for the business. They now have seen someone who is able to bustle them out of their tiny bit of turf. So, they now know they need to muscle up. The next time, they'll remember a switchblade and how effective that was. Maybe a gun. Maybe one of them will find a liking to it. Probably, given the climate. So, the question then ends up coming into, what could you get out of it? You're still thinking very short term. For if you are still breathing, 10 years it wouldn't be your problem. Now it is. And why did you hold back?
they're just kids.
And this changes what?
I don't know. They're just kids. I'm supposed to kill some kids, like.
No, but I would have at least broken two of their legs and skinned one alive in front of them. Give them a reason to remember.
I thought that's what I accomplished, but
No, what you accomplished was bullying. It's the threat force. But you, Benji, he kind of looks up at Benji, making it very clear the size difference between the two. You are force. Do not be ashamed of it. And do not try and hide it. When one spurns you, you drop them. You don't need to kill them, but you can definitely make an example.
maybe I can. Still. It gave me some names. Dealer names.
Fantastic. Now, where do we find them?
I think it's possible to ask around a bit.
I suppose. Though the more I ask around, the more people start to put dots together. That's why I don't do it too frequently.
It's true, but I got a couple contacts.
Fantastic.
Yeah. Bobby's off that
Well,
hard. Been off that hard shit, but he's still on. And Mary Jane.
I have to admit, I have not met this Mary Jane, though if she is a party girl like you seem to enjoy, then all the best to you.
Benji just blinks. Thanks. He's a little overwhelmed that Urien doesn't know that euphemism.
Or maybe Urian's just screwing with you. Hard to tell.
Yes, the answer is yes. Anyways, Benji texts Bobby, and he frames it in a pretty simple way. He's like, "Yo, man, I've been needing to de-stress for a sec here. Could you hit me up on some dealers? I've been hearing names, but I just want to double check. You know any of these people?" And then he puts down the names, and then sends a message.
And let's see, Bobby.
He doesn't expect it anytime soon, but
Now, Let me look at your sheet here. Bobby. Who was Bobby again?
Bobby was just his childhood friend.
Okay.
I didn't put him as a conviction or anything.
Okay. So Bobby texts you back and says, "Man, I ain't got any hookups here."
Rough. He messages Bobby back just that.
Besides, he's texted you back. Besides, you haven't hit me up for like a year.
Benji's just kind of thinking for a second. And he's like trying to remember when the fuck he last spoke to Bobby. Sends back the teary-eyed laugh emojis. Oh my god, I'm so sorry, man. I've been busy with games and stuff.
You know that you've talked since then, but you haven't actually asked him for anything of recreational nature in quite a while.
That's true. That's true.
Not since you were embraced.
Yeah.
Turns
No
out that
necessity.
shit is kind of spooky. Lighters tend to be kind of spooky. That's new.
That's true.
That's something you learned last time.
Benji sighs, pinches the ridge between his nose and his forehead. And then he starts to think for a second. Maybe I can... Maybe we can ask around for a bit. Maybe we can look around for a bit.
These are small time, yes?
Yeah. More or less.
Well, I suppose I could end up asking around. If it is what you wish.
You have connections with that stuff?
Benji, I keep connections with all sorts of things.
Wow.
Though, I oftentimes find it useful to keep people in the know. Yourself included in these. If it is what you want. But I expect you to lay down some hard justice. If that's the case. Threats only go so far. It is action people remember.
Alright.
And you are trying to be a man of action, are you not?
That's true, yeah. It's like,
Fantastic.
we'll admit, it's like in the back of my head, I got Isabella telling me, don't do it. But, I mean, that's why I'm out here, to do it.
Well, let us see how you handle it then. Urien walks away for a bit. And I'm going to use... Would it be alright if I used Resolve Streetwise and Lane?
To do what exactly?
Well, we have names.
Yes.
I want to know which ones live in the area.
Yeah. Go ahead and... Yeah, give me a resolve. It might take you a few minutes.
Yeah. I am willing to spend willpower on that.
Okay. Oh, pardon me. Oh boy. Alright, so the names that Benji came across are indeed small time. But you know for a fact that small time doesn't always stay that way. In fact, it's entirely likely that they're connected to something a little bit bigger. Obviously, this kind of pyramid is functional.
Well,
It tends to get the job done. You
I might know something about pyramids.
certainly a lot of those in your life. But yeah, it seems that the kids just weed dealers, tag markers. You go far enough up the chain, you're getting cartel. But that's not to say that they're directly connected. But there might be a lead to follow.
Well, I think we will follow it then. See if we can get to one of these larger scales. Or at least the neighborhood. That's all I'm really concerned about.
Mm. The neighborhood equivalent to a sort of local leader in the underground is a man who goes by the name Emmanuel.
Emmanuel. Ah, I could have some fun with this. Well, let us go hunt down Emmanuel then.
Let's do it.
So, with the 4 successes, you know that in regards to where to meet up with Emmanuel, you aren't necessarily sure. You're probably more likely to get a hold of him indirectly through one of these branches,
That's fantastic.
and it seems familiar enough to go up that chain to much like you would to one of the barons, except it's mortal. Maybe?
Yes, well, we're about to have some fun. So I will, whatever leads that successes will give, that's where we will follow.
Okay. Oh, pardon me. I'm having a lot big yawns.
Big yawn.
A
The advantage to being dead.
I just realized I have
Yep.
tokens here that should be.
Hi, Tom.
Hey, Benji. Hey, new Benji.
Yes. So, the two of you kind of travel down the streets of the domain and out into the greater expanse of the city. You find yourselves heading farther and farther west when it comes to the meeting place of Emmanuel, where you suspect that he may meet you. You
Benji's gonna check in with Urien.
okay?
Once the van rolls up to sort of a street side, he leans forward. It looks over to Urien with like really serious face. Serious, but like hiding some naivety, I guess. He's like, so I guess we can approach this two ways. We can either come up saying we're pretending to be dealers, trying to get some product out on the streets, or we, I don't know, we just crash in DMX style.
You don't strike me as a particularly good fibber, and
I'm
I would.
not. I am not.
Then why not play to your strength?
You got a point. Okay. You see Benji just like his leg is just like jittering. And
This
you
is
can see
getting you
himself.
excited.
Yeah, he's like psyching himself up.
The chance
Benji's
for bloodshed.
yeah, Benji's gonna peer out the sights though. He's gonna double check. Does he see like lights on? Does he see like is the guy in a building? Is he out on the street? What's going on?
So the area around you is fairly wide open. It seems to be a local park. There are, and it's kind of one of those parks that's really only got a couple of swings and a baseball field, you think? The grass is browning as is expected in Texas summers. You see that obviously in this small of a park that is vacant. There's nothing there but except the streetlights. It's maybe a bench. You go ahead and make me a wits plus awareness.
Can I? I'm gonna use the willpower.
Okie dokie.
Ba-dum. Do I use willpower or willpower reroll?
Willpower reroll.
Okay.
And then maximum number of dice is 3.
Boop.
You have 2 successes. So, looking around, the park seems pretty empty. Doesn't seem to be anyone here as of yet. It's it kind of looks like it's gone a little underused, but you're not 100% positive on that. You get this sneaking suspicion that there may be a reason that people use this park, and it's not for the park's amenities.
Um, Benji is looking out for two things. One, if there's any pedestrians going through on the sidewalks, um, and or uh, past contacts. And additionally, if he can see the guy he's looking for. With his roll, does he see any of these things?
At a first glance, you don't see anyone walking past. With it approaching nearly 2 in the morning, and it is a fairly small park, there's not really a whole lot here that would keep a person from that would keep a person here. So you don't see anything right away.
Hmm. Kind of pats Urian's shoulder and is like, "Do you see anything, bro?" No.
Sorry, I didn't quite catch the question.
Do you see anything, bro?
I am not the greatest spotter, but he takes a quick look around. He's definitely using Sense the Unseen at this point.
Okay.
Nothing more. Nothing more. Unless I'm about to end up getting a succeed at cost option.
No, it seems as if no one is here.
Fantastic.
All right. Well, foot investigation.
You take the lead. I'll provide cleanup if necessary.
All right. Benji puts up his hood. Make sure puts on his bandana to kind of obscure his features, so he's not readily identifiable.
Hmm.
And he begins on foot. Goes out to the middle of the field first thing.
Okay. So, walking through this park, you are you looking for something in particular? Are you looking for just anything that stands out? What are we doing here?
He's looking for. Uh, I guess he's gonna try and look to see if he can find like some sort of space that things would normally be hidden, and or this Emmanuel person, if they are there.
Okay. So since this is still you looking around, you you spend some time looking looking through the field, kind of meandering, and there's nothing on the field. You start to walk through the border of the park, which seems to uh butt up against the street on one side. It kind of has this little ditch on the other side with housing on just immediately past it. Um, and you just kind of just kind of follow along. You follow along the ditch a little bit. Roll me a resolve plus investigation. Mm, nothing's really catching your eye. You you get a thought at that point that maybe they use the ditch, maybe a little underpass underneath it, but then you look through it and you'd realize that there is some running water. There's not really going to be any evidence of someone having been here. You you start to get pretty frustrated at the prospect of it, and it's really getting on your nerves that you're not really finding anything, and that the information that you got either wasn't passed on or they don't care to meet you.
Hmm.
You start to wonder if that's the case, that perhaps they're perhaps they're just flexing like that.
Fucking hell. Bullshit. He starts kicking around on the dirt. It's like getting visibly agitated again. What the hell we in this damn field for? He yells out to Urien.
Patience, I imagine, is not your strong suit, Benji. He kind of keeps in a low voice as he walks around. He keeps looking around. Suffice it to say, if this is a place of business of theirs, they need to come out sometime during the night. And If not, we have time to be able to indulge ourselves. And if not, well, business must really slow down for them if they have to end up hiding in their holes.
Right, right.
Be
I'm gonna.
persistent enough and they will want you off their turf.
Mm,
I look forward to seeing that. Urien checks his bag for something he brought in. It seems to be a couple locks and a long length of high gauge chain, the kind you pull tow trucks with.
Benji sighs. Right. Probably just gonna have to wait. Um, he decides to just sort of start browsing social media and ends up sitting on the grass like a kid.
Urien keeps standing, though he keeps looking around. Again, using his own abilities, but primarily he's just taking in the silence and the beauty of San Antonio at night from the park, surrounded in dark, and to see the lights of the city shine upon the overcast cloud.
I'm gonna say Benji waits and probably 40 minutes max.
At this point, it is 2:30, and you start to hear some rustling.
Hmm. Can I? Is there like like a location Benji can point to? Does he? I'm gonna look.
You look in that direction, and it does look like there is the silhouette of a person there.
Benji puts his phone away, stands up, puts his hands in his pockets.
So,
He stand he stands expectantly. Continue.
this person calls out in kind of a young but slightly raspy voice. So, who are you?
I'm just looking to buy, man. Thinking of starting a business. Benji starts approaching slowly. He's trying to keep a casual energy, but deep inside he's hyped. He's like, finally a person.
You see the silhouette raise their hand and tell you to stop. Looking to start business. Sorry, we're not looking. We're not hiring.
You're not even selling? Can Benji see if the guy has a weapon on him or not?
You see mostly a silhouette. If you want a deeper look, you'd have to get closer to him. He's not really in the light.
Yeah, bummer.
So if you're trying to detect a hidden weapon, it's super hard right now, but you can try it.
Alright. Benji just holds out his hands. Shows that he doesn't have any weapons on his hands at the moment. He holds them out. Why you over there, man? Come talk.
I just met you, fool. I
Yeah,
ain't
you just
going anywhere. You're gonna stay in the light, and I'm gonna watch you. You said you wanted to start business. We're not hiring. You want to buy. What do you want to buy?
what you got?
What kind of question is that?
kinda means I'm looking for all sorts of things right now.
Well,
What, you just got Mary Jane? Is that what...
who the fuck calls it Mary Jane anymore? You fucking dweeb.
I'm asking if you got weed or not, man. And if not,
Keep
if you
it
have
down.
get over here. How we gonna talk business if you can't even come up?
I can hear you just fine from here.
You want me to yell about drugs in the middle of the street?
No, you don't need to yell.
I'm wondering what I can do right now.
So you said crystal.
I did. You got any? You got any contacts?
Man, you got some nerve. You got some fucking nerve. Walking up in this part of town and what is this I hear? You beating up kids?
Not beating them up. Just telling them to get the fuck out my hood.
Who says?
Me.
Who the fuck are you?
I'm me, bitch.
That ain't a name, fucko.
About to make it one. Benji starts walking towards this guy.
You see that this guy pulls a gun.
Benji stops for just a sec. Underneath his bandana, he's smiling the entire time.
You're gonna stay put. You're gonna stay right there.
Oh, now this just isn't fair. Urien starts walking out from behind Benji. He allows himself to be in the light. If you're going to end up doing that, at least end up pulling two to make it fair. Call one of your friends, bring them down. You might want to end up doing it. I don't think you're going to do much more than tickle Big B here.
Uh-huh. Still haven't given me a name.
I just did. This is Big B.
Big B.
That's all you need to know.
And you?
I'm the devil. Here to offer you whatever you wish in exchange for your mortal soul.
Right.
Perhaps I need to make it more evidence. Urien starts just walking up to him.
This guy... Alright. Okay. As you start to walk up, he pops off a warning shot at your feet.
Urien just keeps walking, looking him right in the eye. You did not hear me. You are dealing with Satan himself. Try me. But understand, Big B here wanted to let the kids go. I wanted to have one skinned alive and placed upon the wall to get your attention.
You're a sick fuck.
You have no idea. He keeps walking closer, so go ahead. Pull the trigger. But I warn you, if you do, things go a lot worse from here.
I'd like you to roll me a charisma plus intimidation.
ST, quick question.
Mm-hmm.
Does this guy happen to have a silencer on his gun?
It seems military grade, yeah.
So it's a silenced gun.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, that just made my life easy.
All right.
I need to also mention Benji is also right next to Urien as he's making his way forward.
Okay. And so, walking forward, it seems like this guy is sure in his footing, and he has his weapon full ready to shoot Urien in the face.
Urien slowly lowers his head. Or you see, it kind of presses his chest right to the barrel. Looking him right in the eye.
Looking him right in the eye. You can see this individual for everything that they're worth. This is a man who stands about 6'1", shaggy hair, a little raspy in the voice, but he's muscular, he's toned, and he's about ready to squeeze that trigger. Back the fuck off.
Clearly, you didn't hear me. So, he reaches for the gun, making it very clear he's going to pull the trigger for him.
All right.
Benji. Okay.
What is Benji doing?
Benji's popping that daunt. He's gonna fucking slap the gun out of this guy's arms and try and, like, subdue him.
Okay, so you activate Daunt, and you're looking to swipe the gun out of this guy's hand.
Swipe or slap, one of the two.
Okay.
One of the two.
Then go ahead and make me. You're slapping it out of his hand, but you have Daunt activated. So are you intending to intimidate him, or are you just wanting to get the gun?
If I can surprise him enough to make it easier to disarm him.
He could see you coming. There's no surprise here.
Nah. Okay. Well, I guess there's no greater purpose to that other than making him more submissive after the fact if I can. But
Then roll me a strength brawl.
strength brawl?
Is there
Okay.
anything else that you intend to do with that?
Just put him on the ground. And let's.
And I believe that means if we're going through initiative order, Benji goes first because it's a melee then to shooting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Maybe, perhaps, if there's additional time after putting him on the ground, give him a good slap to the face.
Okay. Then yeah, we're gonna do this in an initiative order. So, with
Cool.
Benji going first, we're going to do a contested roll for that particular thing. So you're going to roll me strength plus brawl, and he's going to roll dexterity plus athletics to dodge you.
Okay. No modifiers?
Not unless you intend to.
Are you popping potents?
Yeah.
I don't want to kill the guy.
Why?
I need questions.
I can give you questions. What you're looking for is answers.
Benji doesn't really know. Benji doesn't know Urien can bring people from the dead yet, okay? He
I don't.
doesn't get that whole necromancy shit.
I
Who
don't.
said anything about necromancy?
Uh, Alright, well, he got in a fight, so we're just gonna go with the brawl and the strength.
All right.
And I hope this guy is quick, otherwise he's gonna have a bad time.
So.
He is not quick.
You have won by 3 successes, so he's going to take damage in that regard. And you're able to since your intent was to slap the gun away from him, you have been able to successfully break his hand. As in his finger, like a couple of his fingers are broken, having you slapped the gun away from him.
Broken inside the trigger guard.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Whoops. Okay.
Urien, it's your go. What do you intend to do?
Well, if that is the case, I am going to take a step past him, and I am just going to keep an eye out for onlookers, as I'm going to allow Benji to do what Benji does best. As I start ruffling in my bag and slowly starting to pull out this large bit of chain, probably about 20 feet.
All right.
I came prepared.
With his weapon now removed from his hand, basically, and in pain, this guy is definitely not happy. He is attempting to run for it.
Be sure to break his legs, Benji.
So, Benji, do you intend to catch him?
Yes.
Then
Benji's gonna try and grapple him and put him on the ground.
okay. Roll me a strength plus athletics.
Uh.
He is attempting to just book it and run. And he's going to spend willpower for that, actually.
Oh, then I will too. You said strength plus athletics?
Yep.
Spend only if you need to. You gotta beat 2 successes.
Only 2?
Mm-hmm.
Yep. He's not.
Alright.
He's
Never
not.
mind.
He's not having a great. Not having a great time of it.
Meets it beats.
It meets it beats. So you're able. He almost slips away from your fingers, but you're able to grab the back of his collar, and you now have him in your hand.
Okay. Benji's gonna kick the back of his legs to put him down on the ground.
All right, then roll me a. Pardon me, strength brawl.
He's not really caring if he breaks this guy's legs.
This guy is going to fight back. But since there's already been an action on him this turn, then it is at a -1. Nope. You deal him. Are you intending to harm him? Or just subdue him?
Just subdue him, more than likely.
Oh, why do you limit yourself, Benji?
I know. He wants to prove himself. Wants to prove he's controlled.
So this guy is now on the ground, with you atop him.
Kinky.
Look,
Um,
look, man. Just God. Just, what do you want?
Urien drops the chain by his head. Kneels down as he starts to grab hold of the gun that Carlos ended up dropping, or this person, he doesn't know his name. Well, given the fact that this is where bad things happen to bad people, and you already said I am, what were the words you used? Big B, I believe he said, sick fuck. Yes?
we're about to show him the meaning of that, aren't we?
Yes. Careful, I don't want to shoot your tongue, as he kind of drives the gun barrel into Carlos's mouth, trying to force it into the inside of his cheek.
Roll me strength plus intimidation. Let's see what that does.
Probably not a lot. No. Not that I'm planning on doing that, but I just want to place it.
You do place it there.
Yeah.
But he doesn't seem phased.
Yeah. You're not taking me seriously, Carlos. He pulls the trigger. He's going to shoot the inside from the inside of his lip out the side of his jaw.
Oh. Okay.
Silence gun, and it's in the middle of his mouth.
Then
Sounds not going to carry.
yeah.
It should be a flesh wound. It's not aimed to kill. It's not like I'm going to miss.
All right. Yeah. And it's bleeding pretty bad.
No. Carlos, the next time you don't take me seriously, I start removing organs. So,
The fuck?
I'm sure
The
he starts
fuck?
patting. He kind of keeps the gun barrel pressed in. Don't worry, the Heath will cauterize it soon enough. He feels around Carlos, looks for a phone.
And there is a phone. Looks like a burner.
Flip it open. Checking for recently called numbers.
This guy must be pretty smart. There's no list.
Well, my dear
Alright.
friend, I'm going to tell you right now. You didn't want to do business with us because you didn't know who we were. I want you to call somebody who will. I want you to know you are not getting out of this alive. But you can make it quick and painless. Or I can have them on the line and have them hear you die. Do you understand me? Nod your head.
He.
With all due respects, Urien, I think he could be of use alive for a bit.
And it's at that point, he hands the phone over to Carlos and he keeps the gun in the mouth so he can't talk.
We got some questions. And Benji leans in real close to his ear. Daunt's still active, and he says simply, if you don't answer, I'm going to break every single bone for everything you won't say.
Well, if that's all we need, then he takes the phone back and plugs it in his pocket. I suggest you cooperate right now. I am losing patience. And remember, between the two of us, I'm the psycho.
Right. Um, cool. What do you want to start your own fucking business? What the fuck does that have to do with me?
More precisely, it's more like we're trying to put your boss's business out. But you know.
Oh, oh, okay. Yeah, put the boss's business out, right. Do you do you even know who the fuck you're dealing with?
I don't think you know who the fuck you're dealing with.
No, I don't think you know who the fuck you're dealing with.
Then how about you tell me? And Benji starts pulling on his wrist and slowly moving it into the most uncomfortable position until Carlos gets the idea. It's gonna fucking break.
Strength intimidation, please.
Yeah, yeah.
All right. He winces in pain, but otherwise seems pretty well composed. He he looks up at you and just kind of regards you for a moment and then says, "So you want Emmanuel, right?"
That's correct.
But you don't know who Emmanuel works for.
If I had to guess, given the hardware, it would imply connections to military, which is how you got this gun.
Hmm. You'd be correct.
Yes. You see, the funny thing about that is, then I know who Emmanuel's boss is.
Okay.
So, how do we get in touch with Emmanuel? Do we just keep skinning all of you mongrels until he decides to come out and that enough's enough? Come at us with machine gun fire and what have you.
Hmm. I mean, if you want. I don't. I don't think the big boss is gonna be happy about that.
Yeah, probably not.
I mean, you're kind of
The weird,
skirting into
weird
his
thing.
territory.
No, you see, that's where you're mistaken. He's skirting into Big B's here. Oh, that does remind me. Benji, get him up. Get him towards the lake.
Benji pulls him up and starts moving him with his hands behind his back.
And you start to move him.
Okay. Over to the lake. He looks over to Urien, questioningly.
Urien's just following behind with that big bit of chain.
You sure there's no other use for this guy?
Well, you're the one who killed him, Big B.
How about I
So, Carlos, is there any family or friends I should end up sending flowers to?
I don't remember ever giving you my name.
Oh, sorry. My bad. So, my friend, is there any family, friends, anybody I should be sending? Yeah, anybody I should send flowers to?
Give Alex Jameson my regards.
I will. I most certainly will. It's at that point, Urien ends up, yeah. placing his fangs into Carlos and starts to drink him.
All right. How much are you taking?
All of it.
Then this man with the silenced pistol and the broken fingers relaxes in your grip and eventually
Benji's
stops breathing.
Benji's just kind of staring in shock and horror, like, "Oh, holy fuck! What?"
And it's at that point that Urien will start to wrap the chain around Carlos, especially in the mouth, and at that point make sure that his chain is binded. And it's at that point he takes the phone, pulls out the SIM card, hucks the head, uh, hucks everything into the water, and then bites into his own hand and starts to throw the keys to Benji. Get the van. He's given us more than he could have ever hoped.
Aye, aye, Captain. Benji makes a jog out over to the van, gets it started immediately.
And it's at that point, when Benji is not around, is when Urien will embrace Carlos.
All right. So, Urien, you, with the vein open in your wrist, you press the wound to Carlos's mouth. And immediately as the vitae begins to course out of the wound, you see that he starts to twitch a little bit. And eventually leans back into you again.
And it's at that point Urien pulls away. Let him fester in hunger. Let him feel the torture of it. And waits for Benji to end up getting the van. I may not know my childer's name yet, but Delgado's going to want to know. Delgado's going to want to know that Jameson has people muscling in on his turf, and I am bringing him evidence.
All right. So, Urien, I would like you to take 3 stains. 1 for killing him, 1 for feeding against your prey exclusion, and 1 for embracing.
Now, do any of them get removed because of my convictions?
Read.
Specifically my second one. Satan represents indulgence instead of abstinence, and I have not abstained in any step of this.
I would say that you may remove 1 stain.
Fantastic.
But indulging in violence is a quick way to lose your humanity.
It is. Unfortunately. But right now, it is Benji I'm more worried about.
So, with that, we're going to take a quick break. Thank you all so much for watching so far. I hope you've enjoyed it. We will be back in a few minutes with the continuation of San Antonio by Night.
Love you all.
Don't go anywhere. Welcome back, everybody, to San Antonio by Night, where Urien just embraced himself a new fledgling. So, the Urien and possibly Benji have been wrapping this man, they haven't even gotten his name, in the chains that Urien had supplied, and are now trying to decide what it is that they're going to do with this individual. So, take it away, gentlemen.
Benji get him into the back of the van. It's at that point he starts hustling around, looking at all of his small bits, and remembers that Louisville slugger steak that Emba ended up managing to make him. Yeah, that'll work.
Benji hoists this kid up into the trunks, shuts it somewhat quietly, but quickly, and
You notice when you do pick him up, though, that he is fighting tooth and nail to try and bite you.
Kicking and screaming like a newborn.
Benji
Don't
looks,
worry, I have a soother right here.
Yeah, what? Did you embrace it?
He's too hip. He is too knowledgeable right now to simply off, and he knows too much to be left alive.
All right.
Now,
Okay.
could you please put this into his heart real quickly? He just hands the steak over to Benji right over Carlos's waiting eyes.
Benji is just staring at the steak, and you noticed he pauses. And
It's either
he
that or
seems-
he's going to be kicking up a fuss the whole way, and I need to end up making a phone call.
He's frozen, fixated on it for a sec. Yeah. And he goes ahead after a lot of hesitation and just jabs it in.
You have a strong enough strength brawl that I'm not even gonna make it a contested roll. You you know where the heart is, and you full force jam the stake into his back. And what once was a thrashing, frenzying Kindred is now still dead.
Urien, you see Benji have this chill, a frozen look on his face. You kind of have to push him away from the trunk to get him into the vehicle.
Well, to get him is the back of the van after all. And if you're more comfortable there, he pulls out a tarp. He kind of looks at it, reminding himself of Wolf, who used the tarp earlier. And places it over the body. Closes the doors with Benji still in the back, who seems to be frozen in place. They can't stay here. He gets it to the van, starts driving. And he waits till he's out of the park and gives Benji his moment.
Um,
After a moment, he pipes up. Is this the first time you have done so?
Benji, in probably the quietest voice Urien's ever heard, just nods lightly. No. And he crawls up to the passenger seat next to Urien.
You did very well, Benji. Very well. You'll make her proud with this one. He taps Benji on the chest.
When Urien does so, he notices Benji flinch, and he just, like, gives him a look like he just snapped out of something. He's like, "You're on some Zodiac killer shit over here. God damn."
This will be the least of our sins in this decade.
Alright. Cool. So, we heading back to the cabin? Fucking
Perhaps.
killer
I need
cabin.
him. Benji, when you first met me, what did you make of me?
Shit. I thought you were small fry, man. Like,
I am.
now I'm getting to know you a bit. You on, like, some whole other shit. Talk like you're, like 80 years old over here. Who's Mary Jane? Fuck, dude.
I would assume marijuana. Or children still refer to it as weed.
Yeah. And just some other things.
I was always partial to the devil's weed.
The devil's lettuce.
Devil's lettuce. Yes, that is the one. See? Now you laugh. That is good. Some days think I almost forgot how to.
Fuck. We gon' be laughing soon. Points back to the passenger in the back. This guy ain't gonna be laughing.
No, you will not. I'll grab his wallet soon enough. Get an understanding of who he is. But first I need to make a phone call. Don't let him out of your sight. He's very important right now. My friend, it looks like he's about to become a celebrity.
Oh? Shit.
This individual, whether he knows it or not, has just sparked a war between the higher-ups. Our boss is not going to be pleased that his boss is currently trying to silently muscle in on turf. Urien checks the gun, smiles a bit. This'll be interesting.
Benji just peers at the gun as Urien is also pulling it out, checking it. Man, got a good load. Shit.
This and that, he gestures behind him to the corpse in the back, is evidence somebody is not respecting the boundaries. You once asked why it is that I am charged with this domain. Now you understand why.
Vampire turtle.
Something like that. He stops the car when he figures he has a place to make a phone call. And he makes the call. To Delgado.
You call to Delgado's known number amongst his barony. You get a little bit of the usual song and dance of past phone calls, messages, things of that sort, being on hold. But eventually, Baron Delgado himself actually does answer the phone. Mr. Doyle?
Mr. Delgado. I was doing the rounds and came across something you would find of interest.
Oh.
It would seem that Jameson is on the move and seems to be having squatters in the place where, well, let us just say that he should not. I have evidence and witness currently in my possession.
There's a long sigh. And you, of all people, would know that a long sigh for a kindred is an effort sometimes. And he simply says, "Fantastic."
Yes. I would like to drop him off in your tender care, and upon your satisfaction, have him return to me to allow me to run some experiments. I have some thoughts and queries of my own, but fairness to you. I wish to end up making sure that you are informed, and do let it be known that the capture of such a prized possession falls squarely in the hands of your new recruit, Mr. Benji, who is, well, without spilling too many details, very much instrumental in the capture of said evidence.
Fair enough. We shall discuss it when you arrive.
Directly to your your previous meeting grounds?
Please.
Yes. I will see you soon, Mr. Delgado.
Thank you. And he simply hangs up.
He walks back to his van. Good news, Benji. You get to meet the big boss of this world.
big honcho, huh?
Yes. Be
Who's that?
respectful.
It's
He goes by the name Baron Delgado.
huh. Okay. All right.
You will respect him and his state at all times. You shall refer to him as proper title and show him the utmost respect. And in doing so, I will sing your praises to make sure that your dearest handler knows all too well. I believe that you will enjoy praise from her.
This our landlord that Isabella was talking about.
That is correct.
All right.
I'm just looking after this particular building, so to speak. Any questions you have? I'm sure you have many.
Benji leans back in his seat. Seems kind of like anxious. If I'm gonna be honest, I haven't really met anyone besides the few people Isabella trusts. Most of those are
Cool, relaxed, more your speed. Yes?
generally speaking, yeah. She said she seemed like more nervous to actually get me out into the, I guess you could say.
She's right to be, but now you're starting to understand her.
Right.
If it were not for her, and the way we met, try and imagine what I would have had to do. And there are far worse anarchs out there than I.
Benji is giving Urien a very attentive stare. He nods contemplatively. He looks down at his feet. Right.
Be proud, Benji. You've performed a great service to our domain. Greater than you know.
Alright. Let's go meet head hunt. Let's go make friends.
He drives, staring out. He seems to be focused on the road. Or maybe he's just in his own mind. Thinking back. Almost like he's trapped in a time. Maybe just for the briefest of moments he wipes aside a tear to make himself more presentable.
And so you drive. You know the way. You find that it's not difficult to find Baron Delgado's abode. And so, all right. You're greeted by the same butler who greeted you the last time at your car and leads you through the door. And a very familiar person to you, Urien, is actually in the front lobby to greet you. A man by the name of Damien McCarthy, Baron Delgado's right hand. Mr. Doyle.
Mr. McCarthy, I am so pleased to end up seeing you. You've cleaned up well.
Thank you.
Allow me to introduce Benji. And
Benji.
just Benji. If,
All right.
when we will be in formalities in time, but he's still feeling this out. And right now, he's got himself a handful. Benji, would you be kind enough to bring the package in and try not to move the wood?
Benji, holding a firm grip back of the chains in our captive's hands, make sure to lead him in, lead him in carefully into the lobby area, what have you. He gives a polite nod to McCarthy.
Mm. He nods back at you.
Damien, you're, as a kindness, I want you to know that you're about to get very busy in the next few nights.
Understood.
And despite yours and I's misgivings for one another, understand that we stand shoulder to shoulder in what is about to come.
Bygones are bygones, after all.
We can get back to hazing each other later.
Quite.
Yeah. Now, that being said, you are very apt at firearms, given your position, I assume?
I've been known to fire a couple of things here and there.
He pulls out the pistol with a rag. Not that it matters. It's not like he's going to leave fingerprints or anything, but offers it to Damien. That is a little heavy duty for someone who is simply peddling in narcotics, wouldn't you agree?
Would certainly agree. This is... I'm not the broadest connoisseur, but no one brings a silenced pistol to a gang fight.
No. That, along with the testimonial of, he reaches into the corpse's pocket and pulls out the wallet.
And you see in the wallet is a couple of credit cards, a little bit of cash, some odds and ends of every sort, and an ID that reads Carlos Vives, and another
Mr.
ID
Vivas.
card.
Okay, what's the other ID card?
He's a security guard at the University of Texas Health Center.
Fantastic. Now, if I recall, the health center puts him squarely in Delgado's territory, yes?
It does.
Well,
Seems to be a hotspot these days.
it does. I'm going to keep that bit of information for myself for now. Well, not that I'm going to keep it, but I'm going to file it away. And we await for Lord Baron Delgado's return.
Damien seems to kind of do a little bit of rounds, just kind of walking the grounds a little bit to get things kind of set up for a proper meeting place inside the domicile. And shortly thereafter, Baron Delgado is seen coming down the stairs. And his expression is stoic, as is normal for him. So good of you to come down, Mr. Doyle.
Baron Delgado. Baron of in good standing in San Antonio. I would like to end up presenting to you Benji Cortez. He is under the... Oh god, why am I forgetting her name?
Isabella.
Is a protege under Isabella, who is in good standing in the domain of Delgado, who has assisted and primarily involved in the capture of this one, Carlos, a drug peddler and fiend, and more importantly, a minion of Baron Jameson, trying to set up shop in your turf.
Kindred?
Now.
Now.
For now. At this point, he is too hid. He knows too much to be here, left alive, but knows too much to end up simply killing on the spot. And unfortunately, I could not trust him to be unconscious. If you have a blood bag or something like that, that should bring him out to the stupor enough for questions, though he is still handleable at this point. I will reduce him to ash when he no longer holds service to our domain.
Yes, of course. He sighs and kind of motions to Damien to get something set up for Carlos to drink, and Damien makes his way out of this kind of lounge area that they've set up in the main floor of Delgado's mansion, and Delgado motions for you both to take a seat and to, I suppose, to and in his own words say, I suppose you can set up a seat for him as well?
A mongrel such as this is lucky to be able to crawl upon your floor.
We will still treat him with the same respect as any other kindred, but he is a witness, and he is a problem. You said that he's involved with Jameson.
Yes, words given out of his mouth specifically. His boss, a larger upscale or a larger drug dealer, is directly involved with Baron Jameson. Carlos here has connections well enough to know that we were investigating a smaller gang that took place in my own little bit of turf. In doing so, that means he's well connected, well known. More importantly, he seems to end up having no problem in having children to his dealings.
That's not uncommon for gangs to recruit the young when the times are rough.
Still,
Or the young
This
come
is.
looking, anyway.
I wish to acknowledge Benji's great service to your domain, and that praise should be levied upon Isabella for training such a bruja,
Yes.
given given the history between their blood. I think they both have come out sterling.
Yes, I will have to pass on my regards to Isabella Castillo. She's a wonderful woman. Have you had a chance to really get to know her?
Not too much. I have solved a small issue for her, but Benji is truly the apple of her eye.
You do your mentor a great service, Benji.
Thank you, sir. I'll do my best.
Urien kind of beams a little bit with pride as Benji responds as such. Like, well done. Not the greatest, but well done.
You will pass on that I will be speaking directly with Isabella. Yes, Mr. Cortez.
Absolutely, sir. I'll be sure to inform her as soon as the conversation is done.
Excellent. This whole deal with this gentleman being Jameson's troubles me.
It is troubling to us all.
He
As the
hasn't.
Baron.
Jameson hasn't made a move like this in 20 years. I was beginning to think he had gone stale, or had gone satisfied with his claims. Apparently not. Did this individual say anything else before you handled him?
He said he made very boastful claims, believing that his backers would end up making him immune. What was the dealer's name again, Benji? The one that he was so proud to say.
I believe it was Emmanuel.
Emmanuel, yes.
The Lord with
And
us.
Emmanuel is working under Jameson, I believe, for cash and resources. He supplies them with military hardware, as I have already given to your second hand.
Yes.
He gestures to Damien.
And Damien simply nods at you. Well, I suppose we're waiting on the beverage.
Yes. Now, understand, great Baron Delgado, that I do this in service to the domain and in mutual interest. I am not greedy. I am simply looking out for your best interests by making them my own. So with this, I believe it would be of interest to make sure that not only Carlos is made an example of, but Baron Batista be aware not only of the infraction, but the cost of such a thing.
Baron Batista? As in regards to cost?
Yes, let her know that you take such matters seriously, that the boundaries agreed are to be respected, and that should anyone should the agreement not be held, well, Batista is a stern woman. She will understand that the expectation then is if this is happening in your domain, it could just as easily happen in hers. She will need to end up making an action as well in case Baron Jameson is doing the same in her domain. Doing so, putting him back in his place, but in a way that does not lead to forward aggression.
Yes, the last thing we need is open aggressions.
And in doing so, also opens up the possibility of an ally in Baron Batista, should Baron Jameson believe that he has grown so large as to become more emboldened.
Batista and I have not seen eye to eye in many years.
Perhaps not. But in this, your interests are aligned. You are not commanding her, you are simply expressing a message of what has happened in your domain, and to give her comfort that you are sure that she would have the same expectation of maintaining the boundaries.
Of course. Yes. In regards to your service, Urien, what would you ask of me?
Thinks about it for a moment.
You're a man who has wants, you're ambitious.
I am, and I do not hide them.
Some would even
However,
argue that maybe you're too big for your britches sometimes.
perhaps they would be correct. But
Got a lot of eyes on you right now.
when has my ambition ever not aligned with yours?
That is a very good point.
I have one thing I would like to end up asking. But I think it is not something that is in your capability to deliver just yet.
And why ever would you think that?
Because for me to end up making such a request would be truly me saying being too large. But if you wish to hear it, if only for curiosity's sake.
I am quite curious.
I want Kyle A. Calhoun delivered to me.
Kyle Calhoun.
Yes.
You know this man.
We are familiar. He takes offense to what happened in Jackson and has come to, well, seek me out. I would have him granted that audience on my own terms. My terms are him staked and bound. I have done so, delivering to you, along with message specific to your interests. I would have him done the same.
Do you have an idea of
I have several, but I do know that he will be approaching the city. If this can come to pass. But as I said, it is too bold of a statement.
It's a
It's
very
too
bold
bold.
statement. He is known Camarilla.
And yet, we have been at war with the Camarilla for quite some time, and only recently threw away their shackles permanently. To have him in the city is a disrespect to all the baronies.
Yes, but we know that he will not come alone. No Camarilla does.
No, I suspect not. But now you understand why the task is large. I will allow you to consider it. My loyalty is to you, as my interests are aligned.
Delivering to you Calhoun is a hefty task.
So is averting war subversion of a domain.
That is true. I'll see what I can do.
I am pleased to hear it. Honor be to Baron Delgado. Now, that those pleasantries are put aside,
And it's
let
about
us...
and it's about that moment that the butler walks into the room with, it looks like a serving platter. But when he sets it on the table in front of you both, it is simply a glass filled with a viscous red liquid. One would only assume that it's blood, given the coppery smell in the air. And Baron Delgado takes the glass, kind of looks at it for a moment, and then walks towards the individual that we now know as Carlos. Unstake him.
Yes, sir.
Urien nods to Benji. Oh, Benji's taking initiative. This makes Urien very proud.
Benji goes ahead and holding Carlos down by his back still, making sure that he's settled and firm, goes ahead and rips out the stake.
The stake comes out with some bit of ease, given your strength. And then Baron Delgado leans Carlos's head back and dumps the glass into Carlos's mouth, and then steps back. Carlos kind of shoots awake and kind of tosses his head back and forth, looking to see where he is. He looks dazed. He looks confused. He looks down at his chest and nearly goes into a full-on panic when Baron Delgado just places a hand on Carlos's shoulder and says, "You are a spy." And Carlos just kind of stares at Delgado, and it looks a little bit dumbfounded. Delgado seems to have a bit of a presence about him. And then looks at Carlos and just kind of tells him, "You will tell me everything that you know, and then we will decide your fate. But for now, you will remain here and be my guest. And it's then that Baron Delgado then has you both leave the room.
Benji obliges. He looks over to the table, merely sets down the steak on it, nods politely to Delgado, and proceeds after Urien.
Urien nods. Hail be to Baron Delgado, and gives him a deep bow before leaving the room.
Baron Delgado gives you a respectful nod, and when you both leave, Damien is there to greet you. It might be a while.
I imagine so.
Shall I find something to entertain you? Or do you have other business?
Whew. Benji finally kind of like relaxes a bit. You know, I want to go out for a drink. Get what I mean. Benji just sort of claps.
I am sure, not to be presumptuous, but Damien, if I am led to believe, the least the hero of Delgado's domain here could end up getting is a bit of refreshment. Not needing the ease after all the trouble of having to hunt down this spy.
Of course. And do you have a particular taste? Or do you settle for just anything?
Oh, okay. Flavors. Uh, you know, I'll settle for anything right now. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Alright. And Damien to walk off. He heads toward the kitchen.
And
Benji,
relaxes.
oh, go ahead.
Benji fully relaxes, and he just kind of sighs as soon as Damien's out of frame, and he's like, "Oh my god, I'm so out of here, dude. Oh my god."
Benji, your dear lady has trained you better than you could have hoped. Were you anyone else of your clan, I have no doubt they would have made things worse. You have shown respect, restraint, and managed to conduct yourself as one of your age would and should. You are you are everything one could hope for in a child.
It's good to know. You see, you notice Delgado did something. He just like instantly calmed Damien,
Oh.
tapped him on the shoulder. Something about it was just gave me the wills. Messed with me. I don't know.
It is a gift of his own bloodline. I have no doubt. And there are many gifts that you will come to learn in time.
I mean, I guess I can do something kind of similar and make people scared. Like, that's not the same, too, you know?
No, it is not the same. But nevertheless, Benji, you did yourself proud this evening. How do you feel about it?
Benji just gives this anxious, grimaced smile like, He's acting really dorky right now, and you know it's because he's nervous.
We will have you in a appropriate setting soon enough to celebrate. Perhaps a good fight.
What I'd give for that. What I would give for that.
I think it's about there that we're gonna call the session for the night. Thank you both so much for playing.
Yay!
No worries.
The night was fun.
It's stain time!
It is stain time! Roll me your humanity check.
Alright. I have 2 dice.
Mm-hmm.
Come on, Urien.
I lose my first dot of humanity.
It's completely justified.
It's what needed to happen.
Everything about tonight was what needed to happen.
Yeah. No remorse, no regrets.
Alright. So, who fulfilled their desire today?
I did.
I did too. I got in a fight.
Then
I
you
got
can
Benji to cripple someone.
then you can each recover 1 willpower.
Yay!
Yeah. It was a very unfair fight, but it happened.
Quite, because that guy was immortal.
Oh yeah, Benji still I don't think understands like just how outclassed a mortal is in a fist fight with him.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, pretty sure as a mortal, Benji outclassed most people, so...
Yeah.
That's to be fair. Before he became Kindred, he outclassed a lot of mortals. But yeah,
Blessedly. Or
Think-
unblessed.
I'm glad you guys had fun.
Oh, I did.
I had to quickly find a image for Damien because I did not realize that I had not created a token for him.
You found the most aesthetic thing. Like, he came on screen, I'm like, oh, hello. Perfect
Yes.
for Delgado's domain, of course.
Yeah.
Yes, he's a charmer.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I'm gonna feel
Let's-
so bad when I eat him.
oh. But let's move on to some XP, shall we?
Yeah.
You each get 1 for playing,
Okay.
and then we're going to divvy it up based on who did what today. So, plot progression.
That's gotta be Benji. The whole reason this thing kicked off was Benji.
I'll take it. I was kind of pushing all over the place.
Yeah, which is fair. When you push, you get that XP.
Yay.
The best scene.
Urien fucking taking a chunk out of Carlos.
What? Yeah. What? The whole pulling the trigger?
Yeah, it's just...
I think he's threatening him. No.
You just shot a fool in the mouth.
That was pretty good. I was like, oh, Urien's on that whole gangster shit. He's really out here.
Urien is full on thug.
I was a little shook.
Yo, what down up, dog?
Wow.
That's what Benji be laughing about.
So are
It's
we
like,
giving
you're
best?
like an 80-year-old man trying to be cool.
It's like the second I don't laugh with this is the second I'm dead.
I don't know. That seems like a contender for one-liner too.
Which one?
The you're an 80-year-old man. But that's for you guys to decide, not me. I'm not in charge of this. Best scene goes to Urien, though. Is that what we're talking about?
I think so. Um, no, I think the best one is remember, Benji, you killed him. Like
Benji
that
doesn't
shit
know.
should be haunting.
Mm-hmm.
It kind of it was, but Benji's just like he's full of a lot of mixed emotions from this thing. He's so conflicted.
How are you? That's the more important thing. How
That's
are
the more
you feeling?
important thing. Yeah.
I'm having fun.
I'm glad.
This
I'm
is a
glad.
horrific episode, and it was also the action-packed I've had.
Oh yeah, well that's what it is, right? And at least the way I like to run it is slow, slow. Everything's building, everything's building, everything's building, and then all of a sudden, oh shit!
Mm-hmm.
Is now
Mm-hmm.
everything has real context, as opposed to here's Goblin number 32.
Right?
Good
I
point.
mean, you essentially embraced Goblin number 32, to be fair.
To be fair, I'm not finished with Goblin number 32. Maybe that'll be what we'll call him. It's like you are no longer your name shall be Goblin number 32. Why? Because that's how disposable you are, and that's how I regard you.
Oof.
Urien be thug. But yeah, that's the experience, y'all.
So, Urien,
For
for best
one-liner,
one-liner?
yeah.
Yeah, go for it.
Nice.
Any expenditures?
Oof.
Uh,
I'm within range to do something. I'm just not sure what I can justify right now. Once again,
Okay.
that's something we can talk about.
I
We can talk
actually
about it in the
have.
off week, and if you want, uh, also, Tatuao, thank you for the follow 16 minutes ago. I don't read chat or look at notifications when things go off because I'm paying attention to my players, but thank you so much for the follow. Also realized that Evelyn didn't follow me until yesterday, so there's that. Evelyn, I know you're out there.
What the fuck?
What the fuck?
Just kidding. We love you.
But yeah, um, Derek, you possibly had uh, an expenditure you
I'm
wanted to?
arguing. I'm. Let's see here. I have. I have 5 experience I could spend, but I'm really thinking I might want to save it to get a few more experience because if I don't feed,
Mm,
I think we have an argument for obfuscate.
I would say so.
In which case, it's like, yep, I will. I will definitely take it.
It's one of the
But
advantages of being Blood Leech.
yeah,
You taste a bunch of people, then you're very likely gonna know a lot of disciplines.
the hard part. The hard part isn't the discipline portion. The hard part is the resonance. Is
It's
I don't
true.
get
You gotta get it.
resonance usually.
Yep. It's gotta line up.
But
It's gotta be worth it.
yep. All right. I think I'll save it for now.
Save it for now. All right.
Yeah.
Then Spectre, we can talk about it in the off week if you feel that you could that there's a couple of things you want to toss, unless there's something in mind that you want to talk about right now.
Um, I think I gotta look over it some more.
Okay.
We definitely need to like talk about it over the course of the week. Hey, you should actually send me your schedule so we can do that.
My
Copy.
my what schedule? My stream schedule? My stream schedule
No,
is in my Discord. Also,
no, your
y'all should be on my
general.
Discord. Um.
I mean your general availability.
Oh, like
The one day I thought you had off this week, you were working.
I know, cause it was a fucking male holiday on Monday. There was not going to be any mail delivered on Monday, so they gave us the day off in general at work.
That's valid.
it was a company holiday, so.
Okay.
But next week I have my usual daily schedule, which is Monday, Wednesday through Saturday, working 7 a.m. to 4 p.m. Y'all. But at my day job. But yeah, thank you all so much for watching. I love each and every one of you. I hope you all had a fantastic night, and we will see you all tomorrow. I may do some cosplay crafts. I don't know yet. I'll either do digital art or cosplay crafts. You'll find out. So, oh, I also have a commission from Maddie to do tomorrow. I need to get on that. So,
Ooh.
that is something I will do tomorrow. Yes. But, thank you all so much for watching. Thank you, my players, for playing.
Appreciate that you guys joined in.
Thank you for
VOD will be on
watching.
YouTube. Good night, everybody.
Later.